Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And with this one, guys, we're talking Atlanta Season 3, Episode 8 recap and review titled New Jazz. Follow Earn, Alfred, Paperboy, Darius, and Van in the midst of Paperboy's successful European tour. That is a synopsis of the whole season, not just really this episode, but this episode is called New Jazz. So I'm going to let you know that this is going to be a spoiler-filled recap. I'm going to spoil it, as you know, up, down, left, right, in, and out. As if you've already seen it, you have been warned. If you see my social media handle on the screen, just my Opinion84, please follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, all that good stuff. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. But the last episode of Atlanta that we have on FX, we got, I forgot the actor's name, but it was Trinity to the Bone. It had nothing to do with the actors and actresses that we know and love that I just listed. But now, guys, we're back into the fold with the crew, and they're continuing on their adventure in Amsterdam. And I love it. You know, the episode is opening with the team in the coffee shop with Earn coming in there late with his laptop, just trying to be that great manager for Paperboy, trying to step up the game. And y'all let me know, what do you think about Paperboy's hat, Al's hat? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think that they were doing him an injustice by not telling them or telling him, excuse me, how the hat really looked? But it's not my cup of tea, but, you know, I mean, it looked pretty decent on him. I'm just kind of curious. And Darius, let's talk about Darius, this guy right here, Keith Stanfield. I almost forgot his name. I've always talked about this before. He's so damn random, just with everything, with the way he talks, the way he walks, the way he dresses, and just the way he carries himself overall. But still, it is entertaining. And for some reason, you know, they didn't want to go with Earn on this. They're just going by themselves. And for some reason, Darius, he knows all the drugs. He knows where to get them, not to get it on the black market, because that's just going to cause a bunch of problems. But for this episode, of course, y'all let me know what you think. And was this an awakening for Paperboy, for Al? You know, he looked, well, I'll just go ahead and just jump to it. Was he dreaming the whole time? Was he high the whole time on these hallucinating drugs? The Darius called it, I forgot exactly what it was called, a Nepalese, I was going to say a Nepalese sandwich, but it was some type of, I forgot exactly what it was called, but it had to do with mushrooms, and it had to do with some honey from monks in Denmark. And, you know, he had iPod minis and all that stuff. And I got to ask you guys, like, what, and not, they didn't say his name, but the guy in the coffee shop or the tea house that gave them the drugs. First of all, Darius, why don't you have no money? And we'll talk about Lorraine later on, how she kind of called Paperboy out about that. But Darius, why don't you have any money? You're talking about that you want to pay for it with faith, but, you know, Al came through and paid for it. But I like the dude, he gave him a warning. He was like, hey, you know, your friend right there looks like he's, you know, been on the other side before. But Nepalese space cake is what it's called. It just popped in my mind. Nepalese space cake. You got to stay away from those Nepalese space cakes, because I don't want whatever the hell was going on with out in this episode. But he was like, hey, your friend looks like he's traveled to the other side before, you know, and is used to this. But are you sure that you want this? And he was like, bro, I done seen, what is that, Cats High with a chick that's something. It was kind of funny. I did laugh. But he let him know. Now, I was not going into this, but I was just thinking to myself, maybe he wasn't high and hallucinating the whole time, because there was some type of, Bermuda Triangle, Twilight Zone aspect of the episode, because when he was walking with Darius, he saw the person over there on the ground suffering, but we didn't see the face. But at the end of the episode, we realized that's Darius. So, like, you know, that's just kind of interesting, like, you know, what's going on right there. And so, but that happened before they went to the coffee shop. And so, but he was like, hey, let's get the Nepalese space cake. And he was like, you sure you want to get this? And he was like, he paid for it. He bought two, got one for himself and then one for Darius. And as they're about to take advantage of their nice little treat, you know, we get the nice FX logo on the left side, and Darius is telling Al, like, wait a minute, let the heat from the coffee melt the middle of the cookie. But then it cuts away like it's another day, like it's it could have been 5 minutes later. It could have been 5 hours later, because there was also times in this episode where it was playing with daytime and nighttime. So I'm just kind of thinking, like, was all of this really real or was it fake? You know, because Al could have taken the Nepalese space cake and passed out. And the whole sequence that he had with Lorraine, he was dreaming or hallucinating. Because at the end of the episode, Aaron said that you've been asleep. I found you on the street and you've been knocked out for about 10 hours. So he could have took the Nepalese space cake, been knocked out for 10 hours, thinking that all that was real with Lorraine, but he was really passed out either on the street or in bed under the care of Aaron the whole time. What do y'all think? And I ain't even gotten to the episode yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm just jumping all around. But after they have the Nepalese space cake with the coffee, it cuts to the scene, like I was saying, like it can be 5 minutes later, 5 hours later. I don't know. It was nice the way they do that. And Derek's just random, like, yeah, man, I got these iPod minis and I'm going to be jamming this music and you're going to be jamming this. And I think it'll just help us with the honey to infuse in our bodies so we can just enjoy the high. Let's get a move on. And I'm just like, wow, this guy here is just, you know, crazy as hell, you know, but I like him, but he's still weird. And I'm like, yeah, this is nice. Is this what they do in Europe and Amsterdam all day? They just get high with iPod minis, walk around with cookies and chocolate and coffee? That's dope. I didn't spend like 6 months over there, excuse me, because that seems like a lot of fun. But not fun if, you know, we're going to be passing out like our boy right here because, yeah, you know, he was out of there at the end of this episode. But I don't know why he got so afraid when he saw the rat down there. And this again with the randomness of the show, when those fans were terrorizing the city, you know, hey, you're a paperboy chasing them down. They just didn't give a damn. And they're just going to pick up a baby and start throwing it like a football. They need to be shot dead for that. There's just no excuse. That's just evil. The baby probably damaged for life now, brain damage or something. That's just crazy. I mean, that is one of the worst nightmares for a mother, you know. But it's just funny, like how random things are within and outside of the episode. Because as Al is trying to escape away, he walks in on some theater art with some woman, white woman, with her white tears. You know, that's it. While somebody's over here eating some chips or something. You know, like a bag of brownies. I don't know. Well, actually, it was actually crunchy, I think. But he just messing it up, you know. And then he escapes to this little museum, and then that's where we find Lorraine. And guys, remember, it's possible that this whole thing could have been he could have been hallucinating because we never did find Darius. Darius just kind of disappeared, and it is random as hell for just people to pick up a baby and just throw it away. But Lorraine, at first, I was okay. I'm assuming that Lorraine is trans. Very forward person, very demanding. Kind of seems like the type of person that really will get upset if things don't go their way. We saw that at the very end of the episode where she tried to touch his face, and you know, I would have reacted the same way too. But for the most part, he was in good spirit, and he was really giving her the cold shoulder the whole time. But she just kept egging on, just like, "Oh, you need a friend? I want you to sit by me. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's go here." It's very exclusive. Oh, your friends don't care about you. Your hat is whack. They let you go out. Who owns your masters? Who does this? Who does, you know? I was just like, man, you know, they very nice person, but just a little bit overbearing to me, you know. But hey, it is what it is. But she has some escape out of there, and but even before that, just kind of expressing herself on how much she loved the art, and you know, at first she was complaining, and then I was like, hey, if you don't like all of this, why are you even here? You know, and so there was just kind of like reading each other, and that was interesting. But she did have a lot to say, but at the same time, it's like, I don't think she was real. I think that was just his imagination, like, you know, him looking in the mirror, so to speak, and just kind of reflecting on where he is in life and if this is the path that he wants to continue on, you know, because we've all been there. I don't know exactly how old Al's character is, Paperboy, but he's definitely having a lot of self-reflecting right now, you know. In one sense, you know, this is all he wanted and he's getting it, but he's ended up passing out on the street, going to some exclusive club where they're calling him New Jazz, and he was going to have to perform up there by himself. And that's quite interesting. Then we also see Liam Neeson, Mr., you know, suspected white supremacist. And I'm just like, wow, why are you up here in the episode? That's just crazy. And it's funny, Dr. Darlaw, that's in between the characters too, Al and Liam Neeson. It's just like, you know, hey, I wasn't expecting to see you in here. Well, I wasn't expecting to see anyone in here. And that's just, you know, like, you can't call anybody out for it if it's a place that you're not supposed to be because you're there, you know, yourself. You know, so you can't. Hey, why are you here? Why are you here? I'm here for the same reason you are. You know, and it's just very discreet. Also, Lorraine's friends talked about that, saying that her apartment is called 106 and Park because, do you know, like, how long, there was someone, how long were you been fucking Lorraine? He's like, I'm not effing Lorraine. And they're looking at each other laughing. Do you know what her apartment is called? It's 106 and Park. So she's just probably a very free-spirited, open, sexually person. Do what you do, whatever floats your boat. And to me, it was obvious that she wanted to smash Paperboy. I mean, if he would have obliged her, she would have opened up, I'm pretty sure. But, or he, I'm not sure. But, you know, that person would have opened up. But going back to Liam Neeson, you know, like, I don't even know how I feel about this scene. He could have been telling the honest truth. Like, look, yeah, I don't hate black people, but at the same time, I'm mad at a bunch of y'all because you tried to ruin my career. And one of the things he said was, he was like, the greatest and worst thing about being a white person is you never have to learn anything if you don't want to. Wow, that is crazy. That is white privilege if I've never heard it before in my entire life. And that's, you know, that's damn, that's true. You know, like it is set up so where, you know, like, hey, I can just be a dumbass and still win, or I can be smart and, you know, win as well. You know, like that's just really interesting. That, you know, they decided, the creators of the show, Donald and Miro, decided to keep that in. You know, and I got to think about that and watch it again and really soak that in, because that was a very, very interesting revelation right there. Revelation, excuse me. So definitely let me know what y'all think about that in the comment section too, because I'm very, very curious. That was very bizarre to me right there. But it was still a nice surprise. I'm glad that he did pop up. Yeah, again, let me know what you think. But Lorraine helps him escape. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where she tries to touch his face, and he's like, "Oh, what the hell are you doing? Back off me!" And she, you know, her feelings were hurt, but she letting him know. And then all of a sudden puts a trance on him, and he ends up falling, passing out, and then he turns into the person that we saw at the very beginning of the episode. So you guys got to let me know. Did you think it was real? Did you think it was fake? Do you think he was hallucinating the whole time? Got to stay away from these. I'm going to call it a suffless cloud. What is it? The supplemental rice cakes. I forgot, man. I forgot. You know, I said it before. Maybe it'll come to me again. But I like that, you know, he woke up and Ern was taking care of him. Where was Darius? I want to know where Darius was. I do want to know. I'm not taking away points or anything like that, but I'm just really curious to where Darius went at this point in time, because he just wasn't there. But Ern took care of him, took off his clothes, and was like, "Hey, man, do I own my master?" And he was like, "Yeah, you own your masters." And that was nice. I'm very, very glad that he owns his masters and that Ern took care of him. And that circles back again to season 1 of just how Ern wasn't the best manager, but now, you know, he's taking care of business. But Lorraine called him out on that, like, you got your family handling your finances. The way she talked, I don't know if that impression was good or not, but it was quite interesting. I did like this episode. It was very entertaining. And I think that he was hallucinating the whole time. And this was just like a wake-up call for him in a weird form, a weird capacity. But you guys can let me know if you agree or disagree. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Also, guys, that is going to wrap things up. But if you've seen Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, you can check out my spoilery review that I have right here with the crew. That is Elliot with Movie Files and Eman with Eman's movie reviews. We shot that, and that is uploaded on the channel. But if you haven't seen Doctor Strange yet, you can just check out my non-spoilery review right here. And, you know, go ahead and give that a thumbs up as well. I'm a little behind on my videos. I still have some stuff I need to post. So go ahead and just subscribe and check that out. And please go ahead and give me the thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. But again, guys, that is going to wrap up my Atlanta Season 3, Episode 8 recap and review. If you like the video, again, please go ahead and give me that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And again, guys, before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery. That's just my opinion. Peace out, and I'll see you next time.